Here you go. Hello, everyone. Today I'll be presenting about Discord as the new alerting system. It's a project that I worked over the summer for my home lab, and today I'm gonna go over the details of that project. A little bit of information about me. Who am I? My name is Abdul Malik Banaser, but I go by Malik to make it easier for everyone. And originally, I'm from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And funny enough, today is the National Day of Saudi Arabia, so it's a big day for us. Senior BSMS student. This is my last year, hopefully. I will be done in spring. My interests generally in home lab, DevSecOps, digital forensics, threat hunting, and purple teaming, black teaming. Ex-CBTC member and current Himaya advisor or like consultant. Here are my information. If you want to reach out, please don't hesitate. Discord is the best, but email would work too. Quick announcement. Today we released the junior ops lead and the junior tech lead. So if you have not yet applied, please go and apply if you are interested, of course. So a quick show of hands. Who run a home lab or something similar to it? All right, that's a good number to be honest. Who does secure their home lab? If you run a home lab, do you secure it or just make it up and running and that's it? All right, yeah. So my presentation today will focus on taking the extra mile and make sure that you have security in mind because after all, we are like security students, so it's our job to make it secure. So our agenda today, I will talk about reverse proxy, what is it, and I'm gonna use traffic as a reverse proxy, and then I'm gonna go talk about wildcard certificates, end-to-end encryption, Cloudflare access list, which is known as zero trust, Trojan prevention system with CrowdSec, and alerting system using Discord. I know there is a lot of keywords and acronyms over here, so I will go from the details, not like a super high level. You don't need any background to understand anything on this slide, so it should be easy to understand. So what is a reverse proxy? A reverse proxy is, if you guys are aware of what is a proxy in the first place, where you have to connect to a single server, and that server will relay your traffic to the end goal or to the end point or website or whatever you call it. Reverse proxy is the opposite side. It protects the server themselves, not the users. So whenever your clients or like user are trying to reach out to your service, including blog, including GitLab, for example, whatever service you're running, it will just go through that proxy, and proxy will relay that traffic to your endpoint, to the service you're running. So instead of protecting the user, it will protect the server more or less. So traffic, what is traffic? Traffic is a cloud native reverse proxy. It has four main components. It has entry points, how someone can enter this project or this service. It's either HTTP, HTTPS, and there's a lot more, but those are the most common ones. Edge routers, where you have to define each router for each service, and middlewares to shape the traffic. If you want to make some modification to the traffic that come into your environment, you can add some URL, some tokens, some redirection, whatever you call it. So I want to shape that traffic. I want to control that. And in the end, it will reach out to the service that you're running. So here is a quick diagram of how does traffic go. You have different websites or different external point, as we can see in the blue cloud in the right or in your left, but it's on my right. And that just goes to traffic. Traffic is the blue creature in the middle. And it will just redirect those traffic to different endpoints in your service based on dynamic rule that you have defined in your config file. So that's traffic in a nutshell. Now we're gonna move on and talk about wildcard certificate, what they are. Wildcard certificate is a certificate that can be used on every subdomain that you have for a specific domain. For example, if you have yourdomain.com, so you can generate a certificate that will be used for every subdomains, like blog.yourdomain.com and gitlab.yourdomain.com and any other. Right. All right, yeah. So a certificate is a public key authentication, not authentication, identification process of you to know that the server is who it's claiming to be. So I can tell you like I'm Google, but how can you make sure it's me Google? You have to have some valid ID card to present to different users so they know that you are Google exactly. So that's a certificate in the first place. And wildcard certificate is a certificate that can use in different subdomains. So you don't have to generate certificate for every service you're running. You can just generate one certificate and it can be used for everything you're running. And it's easier to manage and a single point of like renewal. And traffic does that automatically for you. You don't have to do anything for it. You just give it some keys and API keys, tokens, depends where you host your domain are, and then it just goes from there and do all the work for you. That's why it's amazing. I love traffic. So end-to-end encryption. So as we all know, many people or many companies now claim that their application is end-to-end encryption, but it's not really end-to-end encryption. So what does that entail? What does that mean? End-to-end encryption, that means the traffic that goes from your machine, from your laptop to the endpoint is fully encrypted. No one can ever read it in plain text. So Cloudflare supports 4 different type of TLS SSL mode, which is the certificates. There is off, why, and why you should not use it because it's not insecure, and you should secure your home lab because we are security again. Flexible, which is shown in the first picture in the top right, and it's just encrypt the traffic from your browser to Cloudflare, and Cloudflare will decrypt that traffic and send it to your home lab to the service you're running in plain text and HTTP. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. If you can take the extra mile to make it full or end-to-end encryption, that would be the best use case, which is we're gonna talk about today in our presentation. So full encryption, the traffic will be encrypted from your host, from your laptop, to the Cloudflare, and Cloudflare will encrypt that again and send it to your endpoint, to your service you're running. So for example, if you're running a blog, just go access Google, go to my blog, and the traffic will be encrypted from my browser to Cloudflare, then from Cloudflare to my endpoint for the actual service that I run on my home lab. So that is end-to-end encryption. It's not entirely end-to-end encryption because Cloudflare still can see your plain text traffic, but we trust them enough, and you're not doing anything malicious. And strict, it will ask the server to give it a valid ID. So if you do a self-signed certificate, it will not work. You have to get a valid certificate that's trusted by a certificate authority that will confirm, yeah, this is a real ID. So you can't just have a fake ID on you and a police officer will stop you and they will know it's fake because they could not get it into the system and check it for real. So they're gonna know it's fake, but it's the same case scenario for our like signature or like the verification process. So the server must have a certificate that will need to go to certificate authority and be authenticated. So it's a more strict mode as the name entails. Access list, which is zero trust. Zero trust is a new keyword that's been buzzing in the recent like 5 years or so. And Cloudflare has an easy point of controlling all of the zero trust access list. So zero trust means that I don't trust you and I will never trust you. I will just keep asking you to provide me some sort of authentication or identification or any authorization level if you want to go to that road too. So Cloudflare give you an option to just like have an access list, and it lets end user to authenticate using a single sign-on provided and connect to a self-hosted services. So for example, I can use anyone who want to go to my blog should be able to authenticate via Google account, and I can limit the specific emails that I wanted to be able to authenticate. So when you go to my website, it will ask you, all right, now you went to the website, you have to authenticate yourself. You should log in using Google. So you will log in using Google, and then the decision will be made based on if you were added to the whitelist or not. If not, then you'll be blocked or like disregard, and if was added to the whitelist, then you'll be like passing through the zero trust agent or process. Cloudflare's free version support up to 50 users, which is plenty for a home lab. You're not running like a mini corporate environment. Should be enough, and that's all you're gonna need for a home lab. I'm like at 3 users now since like 2019. I never needed more. So as we can see, this is like how the role should looks like. It's a self-hosted and traffic is running, and like this is an example. If you go to dynamic.xyz, it will ask to authenticate users using Cloudflare access point, which is gonna be this picture. And when you try to authenticate, you'll be disallowed to access this because your email is not added, because I had to specify a specific email, which is gonna be my RIT email. So you have to go into another level of authentication, which is the dude authentication, the 2FA dude that we use for my courses. So there's different step of authentication. I just added for extra security, but it's not needed to be that much. So we talked about a lot of stuff, so let's do a quick recap. So there's the internet. Any traffic that will come through the internet will go to Cloudflare. Cloudflare will route that to traffic. Traffic with wildcard certificate, as you can see the log on the top corner. And then traffic will see where that traffic should go, and it will route that accordingly. So IPS with CrowdSec. So what is IPS? Intrusion Prevention System. It's a network intrusion verification, or like behavior analysis or anomaly analysis. So whenever it sees something that is acting maliciously, it should be blocked and disregarded and just kicked out from your internal network, so you can ensure the overall security of your environment. So CrowdSec is an open source and collaborative security stack leveraging crowd power, analyzing behavior, respond to attacks, and share signals across the community. So what is awesome about CrowdSec? You are using the power of the public and everyone, and also you are contributing as well to them. So whenever CrowdSec agency and an IP that has not been identified before as a malicious IP, it will add that to the public database, so any people will see that and know this is a malicious IP. Here is some sort of GUI they have. You can install the agent. You can see some like famous source IP of attackers that attacked your environment. Their domain names, or like the domain that they got from, or like the ISP. And different, like if you have different machines, I have only local host, and what is the scenario. So CrowdSec will detect based on a scenario. There's different scenarios, and all of these are powered by the community, and the list just gotta keep updating daily, if not like hourly. So this is how the GUI will looks like, and at the end, if we have time, I will show you more like of a demo. So what is the process of CrowdSec? CrowdSec is place an agent in a strategic point through your network. So my use case was at the router, which is the reverse proxy in my case again, and just have it after traffic. These agents can detect, log, and threats by IP or activity. The agent query public IP provided for free by CrowdSec. The agent feeds back to the public database. Any threat an agent that agent sees are not into the database already. The API can be queried by a small application called bouncers, where the bouncer's job to protect a specific application or resource. So let's see another graph. There are different data sources, syslogs, access logs, whatever logs file you have. It will just, the CrowdSec will read those source logs and will determine an action based on that. If it's not malicious, it will let it pass. If it's malicious, it will just block it. And it will query the public API that provided by CrowdSec. And if it's not, if the activity has not been added before, it will add it to the public so everyone can use it and benefit from it. And it will send you an alerting, and they support for alerting process, either Slack, webhooks, or Splunk, HTTP API, and Elasticsearch. And Bouncer is just like some security guard across your service. There are different browsers, bouncers. They're like WordPress, Cloudflare, Firewall, Nginx. There's some for Linux, IP rules, SSH, and the list goes infinitely. And that's pretty much about the architecture of CrowdSec. So let's do another quick recap so we can all be sure we're on the same page. CrowdSec has something called a bouncer. That bouncer checks your logs and your network activities, Compare these logs activities to the scenarios used in various attacks. If the behavior matches an attack, it blocks the traffic and alerts you. That's the nutshell of CrowdSec and what it's doing in the back end. So let's continue our process of that project I worked on. The bright side of the story, CrowdSec has a bouncer specifically for traffic, so the integration was super easy and it's already existed. You just need to add few lines to your config file in traffic, and the bouncer should be up and running. So traffic will consult CrowdSec to decide if the traffic should pass or not. So whenever a traffic hits your traffic, it will just ask CrowdSec, can I let this traffic pass? And then CrowdSec will query the API, make sure that traffic is safe and not malicious. Then it will tell traffic, yeah, let it pass, or no, don't let it pass, and just block it. So if the traffic matches up malicious behavior, it will be blocked and alerts will be sent. And if it did not match a malicious behavior, it will pass. And voila, you have secured your home environment or your infrastructure. So now we talk about the alerting process, where CrowdSec does not have a direct integration with Discord. It's not hard to write some webhooks. So that's what I did. HTTP API should be easy, and you should just be able to write some post webhooks that will just go to a Discord server, because I spend most of my time in Discord. And I have just a home lab server that's private, and I have different channels like uptime monitoring, and the list goes on. I can do another research topic on that. So the code is not really important. It's just like it shows that like a webhook has been written to send that traffic or send the alert to a Discord server. So we don't care about this. So let's see that in action. So are you actually under attack? Under attack is not really the right word. You are under attack by bots, because there is a lot of attacking threat actors that just like automated bunch of stuff, will actively scan every IP that comes to live, and will just try to exploit you. So I got one notification, and that was the bright side of it. But that was it? Of course not. One after another, and the list keeps going until like crazy. You can see different countries from across all the globe, and the webhooks that I wrote, it customized to send you the showdown of that IP address, and it also send you like an IP database list, so you can see if that IP has been identified as a malicious before or not. So it can give you a more better idea, and you can control the limit or the time that IP should be banned. I limit that for 4 hours, but you can increase that to 6 hours. You can do ban indefinitely, or you can just make it as you want. But I limit that for 4 hours, since it's mostly automated attacks, not really actual attacks. And we can see identify which like attacks was used against me. So HTTP probing, when you try to get some subfolders, not subdirectories, sub URLs or whatever the slash, and just like try to access those. And some CVE trying to be exploited, think PHP, Fortnite HPHP, HTTP sensitive file, and there's a lot of that going on. So it's not all. That was about 10% of the traffic that I got. I had to mute that channel because it became super noisy. And I noticed one like anomaly, or like one thing. Most of the attacks happens like after 12 a.m. and before 5 a.m. So whenever I go to bed, my Discord would not ever shut off. So like we just keep crying like crazy, baby. So that was like 10% of the stuff that happened to me, the screenshot that I just shared. Last quick recap. This is my final slide, I guess. We have the internet. The internet go to Cloudflare. Cloudflare will forward that to Traffic. Traffic with our wildcard certificate will forward that to CrowdSec, and CrowdSec will decide if the traffic should pass. It will just forward that to the service that you're running. If not, it will just disregard that traffic and send you an alert in Discord saying like, hey, there's some weird behavior, so you can investigate your home lab, making sure no one ever passed that IPS or the extra mile that you took to secure your home lab. And that would be my research presentation. Thank you so much, and the resources is down there. And yeah, if you have any question, I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but if you have any question, can we? All right, yeah. Ashley? So yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so Ashley asked me if why did I choose to have that CrowdSec bouncer after traffic, not a Cloudflare level, because as we can see here, let me just find it. Traffic has a specific bouncer for Cloudflare. So that's a good question. The one reason that I did use CrowdSec after traffic because I have a single IP, public IP address. So it would not be able to see all of the servers that I'm running because all of them would be under the same public IP. I just use a reverse proxy, so I can use one public IP. So if I use that in traffic, all of them would be like every attack would not be specified for a specific service, so I know which is which. So I if I got attacked for like my blog, I would know an attack that target my blog specifically because it's on my reverse proxy. But if I have it on Cloudflare, then I would not know which service was targeted. So in that regards, I can so like if my blog was targeted a lot, then I should pay attention, make sure it's like up to date. There's no patches, there's no security vulnerability, and like the list goes on of like the checklist. So that's why I use it after like traffic. I guess we go again to Ashley.
Another question. So, is this type of setup only applicable if you have a public IP? Because the majority of students on RIT campus do not have a public IP if you're off campus, so like at Apex or Province or Perkins or something.
So if you don't have, I'm just asking, if you don't have a public IP, do you have control over your router that has a public IP?
No. So, in most of these setups, you're going to
So yeah, not sure about this because you will have to open like at least port 443 and 80 to your like at least router so the traffic can comes to you. That's why I did. I have a router in front of my home lab, enable those two ports and route the traffic back to my server. So I'm not sure about that use case, but if you can control the server or the router itself and allow those ports to forward to your specific IP, that would be yes, because that might set up. But if not, I don't know how would that be possible, but maybe it is possible. Another question?
Oh no, I was just about to say you can do the Cloudflare tunneling actually, and have it route through that, and then use traffic, which is
I did try the Cloudflare tunneling before, but it was yeah. Ashley also mentioned we could use that Cloudflare tunneling to expose our services without having a public IP. But I tried those and they tend to die a lot. But maybe it's my setup. But yeah. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, all.